One.
Hey guys, it's Samantha from Black Nation News, and today I had a few different topics I wanted to talk to you about. But first, I wanted to give my condolences to Nipsey Hussle or Ermias Asghedom, and let me just say, I'm still kind of in mourning over his death. I commend his mother for how she is handling it. I think she has her own special way of grieving. As you guys know, I have 5 Black sons, so I can't even begin to say how I would be uh, acting if that were to happen to me. So I just give much love and prayers, and my heart goes out to her and his father. Uh, just a very strong figure who I think has had a huge part, as well as his mother, in the man that Nipsey uh, finally, ultimately came out to be. I also want to give my heart and prayers to Lauren London and Nipsey's children. I just think about those poor little kids who have to grow up and not have their father there to protect them. But I'm sure Lauren has a lot of support. For instance, his Nipsey's bodyguard said that he would be there for Lauren. Snoop said his family will be there to support Lauren. So hopefully, she has a village around her to help her raise their children, and just keep them safe and covered by God. And, I also want to just, say heart and prayers out to his brother. They call him Black Sam. I did not know that, but Samil, and his speech was very moving. Um, they look like twins, and it was just very sad because it reminds me of my sister and my relationship. We're like twins. We're 3 years apart. I think him and Nipsey Hussle are, or Ermias, and we we're very close. And it's like to grow up with somebody like that. I mean, they're just like a best friend. They're a best friend in blood, your sibling, someone who pretty much shares about the same life experience as you do because they've been by your side, looking at things almost from your perspective, like dealing with your parents and growing up and having to go to schools in a certain location. They're going to experience probably the closest experience that you have because they lived in the home with you. So I just can only imagine how Samir feels now. His name is Sam, like mine. So I don't know, just a lot of connection there, and I just pray that he's able to continue. I pray that they all can continue to carry Nipsey's legacy for us, and we plan to do the same because there is a little bit of Nipsey in all of us, and there's God within all of us, so we can definitely continue to do what he started, and just in his honor, so that his death is not in vain. And sometimes I think his death had to happen to kind of wake us up to what he was even doing. I definitely am pissed at national media because I feel like they really did not highlight the good that he was doing in his community. It's so easy for them to talk about the any negatives that Black people are doing, but they don't highlight the positives that Black people do, especially Black men. And they just want to talk about him being a Crip, but the Crip and Blood thing, from what I understand, just wasn't as violent as it used to be. And I do believe that they have been have been uniting and trying to unite for decades now. So wish that would have been, the good of. I wish Nipsey's hard work and dedication to the Black community uh, would have been highlighted more. And I kind of feel like that's why Black media is so important, because we need to highlight our heroes. White supremacy and their media is not going to do it. So just shout out to Nipsey Hussle. We love you. We carry you within us, and we will continue every day to carry your legacy on. And I heard that now that he's gone, the gentrification in his neighborhood, or Slouchin and Crenshaw is just kind of just really ramped up. And the property he purchased was let me see if I can find an article on it. But the property he purchased was because they were trying to buy that area, those stores, that plaza, so they could tear it down and put in most likely condos and a bunch of houses and whatever that Black people can't afford. So let me see if I can find it. Crenshaw. So that's another reason why I think his death happened. I still believe that there is a conspiracy behind it, and I'm going to forever believe that until proven otherwise. And it has not been proven to me that happened, that wasn't the case. There's also some reports that I saw that was kind of disturbing. I saw that they actually arrested the guy that Nipsey was going to help when he was gunned down. Hold on a second. I'm sorry. That is full of crap. That article. They need to pull that down and retract that or give an apology, because that's fake news. So they're saying that the intersection is named in honor of Nipsey, which is completely deserved. They're saying Nipsey was a hero of South Los Angeles, which I believe he was, and it just breaks my heart that no one knew what he was doing until after his death. Maybe we could have protected him more. I don't know. And it makes me really, really sad to think about it. Let me see. So we have. Let me try to see if I can find an article on this, because I heard on some other news that this was happening. This is from last year. But you can see a few of the headlines pushing back against gentrification. LA Weekly. Then they have LA plans to gentrify Skid Row, which will oust poor residents. Advocates say. So there's a lot of gentrification going on. Of course, it's LA. And I guess they now want to push their way into the Crenshaw, Slauson area and continue to build big mansions or whatever, stuff that, poor people can't afford. And this is just another reason why reparations is so important for Black people. So you guys, please, when you vote from now on, Black people have to be more educated when they're voting, and they have to educate themselves on who's running. And some of this stuff sounds cliche, but it's actually true. I don't know if you guys ever heard of sayings where you're like, yeah, I've heard that all the time. Like knowledge is power, or certain little cliche sayings like that. But then one day when you grow up, you realize how powerful that statement really is and why it means so much more than it might have originally seemed when you first heard it at 5 or 6 or 7 years old. And so that's how I kind of feel about the voting thing. I just thought when I was younger, when I was about 18 and I was able to finally vote, I was just like, what's the point? White people are racist, and those old white politicians are all old white men, and they're not going to do anything for Black people. And I did feel powerless. And then now at 36, so I'm already teaching my sons how to vote properly, because I don't want it to take this long for them to get involved in the voting process. You may think your vote doesn't mean anything, but actually Black people do have a lot of power with their vote. And just one case example is that every chance that the government and the powers that be, which what people say that are basically white supremacy, has a chance to suppress your vote, they try to do it. And they do suppressing your vote. They might say you need to have an ID or a birth certificate to vote, when they know that a lot of older Black people don't have birth certificates because of slavery. They were not considered human enough to have a birth certificate. And then sometimes they'll break the machines. They'll just do a number of things so that you can't vote in your areas, where it's predominantly Black or where they know Black people will be voting. And so then you have to wonder, why is it so important for them to keep me from voting? And like I told you guys in other videos, the way I think of white supremacy now, to help me understand how I should move within the white supremacist system, is to always believe and think and do the opposite of what the white supremacist races are doing. So if they're trying to suppress my vote, that tells me I need to vote. If they're trying to tell me Nipsey Hussle's death was related to gang, that means it wasn't. So I just don't trust them. I don't trust them. They never give me a reason to trust them. And anyone who trusts them is crazy. So, I don't know what else to tell you. So it's really important when you vote to vote locally and nationally. Like a lot of times I know Black people have a habit of just coming out for like the presidential election, but I feel like by that time it's too late. Who really cares who's in the White House at that point? Because a lot of the stuff from what I've observed with like Obama being in office, who I did vote for twice, it just seemed like the Congress, even with Trump, it seems like Congress has a lot of power. And at the end of the day, they're kind of running things. They're the ones who make a lot of make the laws. I'm not even sure the president has a part in making the laws. I think he's like just more like an person who's just an executioner. He probably does make some legislation or make some laws, but Congress overwhelmingly has a huge role in that process. Then you have the judicial branch, which is the judges, and then you have the executive branch, which is FBI and police and all that junk. So Congress to me is more powerful than the president, to be honest. Like they call it, when I was in school, the one thing I did pick up from government, learning about social studies and government, was the checks and balances. And it basically was saying that, you kind of can't have just one side having all this power. So the president has to like ask permission to do things from Congress. Like he has to get votes from them. Like for instance, like Trump wants money to build a wall to separate America from Mexico. And he didn't get that money from Congress. So now he's trying to pull money from other programs, like socialist programs or whatever. And it just shows right there. If Trump could get around Congress, he would have. And the fact that he's still struggling to get around them tells me that Congress has a lot of power. And there's also, the mayor, then you have your district attorney, your attorney general, your governor. Like there's just a lot of people that's being put in these positions that have a lot of power, and a lot of them are racist. And we really can't we can complain because we're citizens, but it's like, but what did you do to avoid this? You just stayed home, So if you're not like actively researching who's running in your area and then voting against like the Clyburns and the Northams of Virginia, that governor who was in blackface. And speaking of that, I keep seeing attorney generals popping up in different states who had blackface on as well. I'm getting sick of seeing that article that people and Virginians want Northam and, all the different politicians to stay who did racist things, because I'm from Virginia and I don't want his ass to stay. I want him gone. So I'm like, who did this poll? Like, I don't remember doing a poll. I'm not in Virginia right now, so maybe, but I'm pretty sure they didn't include everybody in that, because as a Black person, like, I don't think a lot of Black people are like down for that, especially not the younger ones who are woke. So let me go ahead and get into my other topics, because you guys know I like to keep my videos short. So rest in power, King Nipsey Hussle. Just wanted to really get that out there first. And then I'm going to continue on to a few different stories that I heard about that I think definitely need to be spoke on, that the national media, I don't think, is giving enough attention to. So apparently there was 3 historic Black churches that were burned down. This is kind of weird. This guy's name is Holden Matthews. And I'm like, isn't that Eric Holder's name? Like, what is going on? So let me look him up. This fucking racist here, Holden Matthews. And let's see if we can get some background on him. I hate when white people do stuff, you don't get any real coverage. It's like, who is this guy? And why aren't more people talking about him? Like what he just did is he is really big and it's not good. So let's just read this article here. So I heard he was a son of Washington Post. Hopefully they don't try to make me subscribe if they cover up the article. Yeah, so he's a deputy's son charged in connection with burning of 3 black churches in Louisiana. That's actually where my dad is from. He's from Monroe. So this is Opelousas, Louisiana. Okay, let me say that. And we'll get out of the way. So they said the first fire engulfed St. Mary Baptist Church in late March, incinerating nearly everything that stood within the historically black church. Pews turned to ash and the brick walls burned so hot that they collapsed into piles of smoldering rubble in Port Bar. Then another black church in St. Landry Parish burned, and then another, 3 in a span of 10 days, sending black communities into a panic and authorities racing to stop an arsonist from destroying another house of worship. Law enforcement in southern Louisiana found their suspect close to home, Holden Matthews, the son of a parish sheriff's deputy. Matthews, 21, was arrested Wednesday and charged with 3 arson counts and fears the arson was motivated by hate. Oh, Amit fears. Okay, counts Amit fears the arson was motivated by hate. It has been especially painful because it reminds us of a very dark past of intimidation and fear, Governor John Bel Edwards, Democrat, said at a news conference. We're back in Jim Crow, guys. You know, I said hashtag new Jim Crow, so let's stay woke and hashtag stay woke and stop pretending that we are not already in the new Jim Crow. So I think I just showed you, I posted it on social media, an article talking about KKK is on the rise. So yeah, it's like, how can they disband the Black Panthers, but KKK just continues to rise and just continues to wreak havoc all over the world. So Matthews is the son of St. Landry Parish Sheriff's Deputy Roy Matthews, who was shocked and hurt at the news of the arrest. St. Landry Parish Sheriff Bobby Gidros said, Gidros rebuffed earlier reports that Matthews was taken into custody by his own father. That is false, he said from the podium, whatever. This case was solved with boots on the ground and butts in the air, whatever that means. Gidros said, though he added Roy Matthews helped direct his son away from his home to make it easier for the arrest. State Fire Marshal H. Butch Browning said physical and technological evidence, including video surveillance, led investigators to believe Matthews intentionally burned the churches, an attack on the house of God, Browning said. So let's see what his charges are. I really would like to know, who is this guy? Is he associated with KKK or the Nazis, or did he shout out Trump also? So let's try to dig into that. So he has 3 arson charges, each carry a maximum sentence of 15 years. If this is a historic buildings, these need to be felonies. I'm sorry. That's just how I'm reading. Like, I'm not an attorney, but I don't understand why the maximum charges is 15 years. And he could have killed people in those churches. What if somebody was in there? All right, so let me go. Let's see which churches were burnt down. We have St. Mary on March 26th, Baptist Church. Days later, a blaze struck Greater Union Baptist Church. And then Mount Pleasant Baptist Church in Opelousas burned April 4th, consuming the church's interior. That's just really heartbreaking. So let's keep going down and see if we can see who this asshole is. So they're saying in 2015, a white supremacist gunman opened fire on a prayer group at the Emmanuel AME Church. Okay, they're talking about that dickhead, Dylan Roof. That was his name. He's a nobody. Freaking asshole. So let's see who is Holder, or whatever the hell his name is. His name is pretty stupid. What is it? Holden Matthews? These racists, I swear. I know I'm pretty angry about their so-called rise. I'm like, leave the churches alone. How about that? Bring your ass to like Chicago or DC or something and then try to do something. All right, so hold on a second. My computer is going a little bit slow. I'm trying to dig into, you guys know I like to dig and get down to the nitty gritty. So trying to dig in deeper, find out who this idiot is. What are they saying? Who is Holden Matthews? So this article is strange. I'm trying to see if this is a racist article, like a racist website. This is just strange. Like, that name's not that normal for someone else to be having it. But anyways, I'm so tired of the Eric Holder with the Eric Holder. It's like I just picking up on things like I do, and that name is it's just weird that Holden Matthews is like another name for some celebrity character or something. Come on, computer. It's dragging a little bit. Sorry, guys. I'm trying to. So we have here who is Holden Matthews. I'm trying to find a website that is reputable. So we have News One. See if they'll really get into the nitty gritty of who this guy is. So they say everything we know about the suspected white supremacist, he's a white supremacist, arrested for burning down black churches. And let's go down. Okay, I'm pretty sure it's going to be a bunch of ads and a lot of junk. Okay. Yes, they call it domestic terrorism, which it is. Expressions of racism and domestic terrorism. Then you're going down. I don't need to read the story again. It's a lot of crap. Keep going. The article didn't give us much. So anyways, so that's what's going on there. So I don't think the media is giving that enough attention. Let's see if Phil can help us out some. So we will play his video.
He was the son of a sheriff's deputy. Let's go ahead and roll the clip. After another, they burned in southern Louisiana. Tonight, 21-year-old Holden Matthews is in custody, accused of setting 3 historically black churches on fire.
This pulpit is over 100 years old.
The 3 churches, just a few miles apart, went up in flames within 10 days. Investigators have not determined a motive, but are looking into hate or racial bias.
When Matthews was developed as a suspect, we saw an immediate threat to public safety. We felt that other crimes were imminent.
So they acted immediately, calling in the help of Roy Matthews, a local sheriff's deputy, and the suspect's father.
Roy Matthews was one of my best friends. He was shocked and hurt, as any father would be. He knew nothing about his son's activity.
The deputy helped lure his own son away from their home where police could safely arrest him. Authorities say Matthews had no criminal history and are looking into his social media posts about black metal, an extreme form of heavy metal music, for clues.
It's heartbreaking.
Pastor Gerald Toussaint preaches at Mount Pleasant Baptist.
Still alive.
It stood here for more than a century.
What is done in the dark will come to the light. It was dark.
So this particular guy is very interesting, the twist to this story, that he was the son of a sheriff's deputy. Now, the deputy didn't turn his son in, but he helped the police set his son up to be arrested, which was the good thing for him to do, the right thing for him to do, because you have an arsonist as a son, allegedly. Well, until he's convicted. He said he was into this metal music. Now, if you listen to a lot of the lyrics that's in metal music, some of it is straight satanic, and some of it is definitely racist in nature, the ones who promote that kind of metal music. Now, I'm not attacking people who like metal music or even produce that themselves. It's on the individual what kind of music you produce or what kind of music you listen to. But there's this one particular guy that was a neo-Nazi that was a metal music guy, and he had actually got convicted of arson and served 15 years in jail. And then after he served his time, he left the country and went to stay in France. But this guy used to follow him and his music. Now, I don't have anything to point that he was putting up a bunch of white supremacist posts or anything like that, at least not of yet.
So I'm going to cut this short. I just find it interesting that the news could not seem to find any more negative photos of Holden Matthews like they did with Trayvon Martin, even though he was the victim, or like they would do with Michael Brown or any other of our young black men. But when it comes to white guys, it's like he didn't have a criminal record, neither did Trayvon Martin or anybody else who died at the hands of police. For the most part, they didn't have any major criminal record, any major crimes, or they didn't have a criminal record at all. So I'm sure he has more incriminating. Holden Matthews has more incriminating photos that I would have liked to have seen. That, of course, the racist white media is not going to show. All right, so let's go on to the next story that I wanted to discuss because I think it's interesting. So we are talking about the era of black celebrity is over, and now it's about black politics. Oprah, Beyonce, Magic Johnson, and Diddy. And that's true. These people are just becoming more and more relevant. I just watched a video with Dinus Demir when he was talking about Jet magazine has just gone bankrupt. And I feel like this story kind of adds to that, kind of supports that our ideology that just black media, the old black media is just so irrelevant now. They're always kind of selling out and pandering, not even kind of, they're selling out constantly and pandering to white zaddy, and basically they have left black people, their black community behind a long time ago. And that's why Nipsey Hussle was so revered and so uplifted in his death, because people found out he wasn't just another black celebrity that was getting the bag and to hell with his black community. He was actually going back to his community and fighting a lot for that community, helping black children learn STEM. He was wanting to, I think, either set up centers or was planning to. He talked about entrepreneurship a lot. So he was a man before his time. You know, he was only 33, and he was doing things that a lot of black rappers just aren't doing. You know, the other black rappers are rapping about drugs and irresponsible sex and drink all the alcohol you can get down your throat and just die and you know, pretty much dumb yourself down until you die or kill yourself. So again, we really miss Nipsey. You know, they don't make him like him, and you can tell when there's a true prophet amongst you. They never get to die at an old age. They usually die young because racists just aren't going to have it. They're not going to allow those black people to live long when they are basically a leader for Black people and going to help dig us out of this mess that we're in. So let me let you go ahead and hear Antonio Moore, one of the co-founders of the ADOS, American Descendants of Slaves movement. And let's just tune in real quick to see his commentary about the era of Black celebrity, which I do believe as well, I do agree, is over.
I want to have the discussion again. Black celebrity doesn't matter anymore. We own Black politics. Shout out to everybody in the chat. I know we got the fam out there. You know, we just had Zoe Williams' show. Make sure you tune into Zoe Williams before me. Wonderful show, wonderful topics. He includes the women. Sometimes I jump in there. So look, what I want to do today is talk about Oprah. We're going to go through the questions. Oprah is struggling. Can we all see it? We're going to get back to it. We see her trying to realign herself with Black folk. She done came out with a little quote, little tweet about Black folks and Reconstruction. But does that line up with Oprah been telling us with vision boards and slavery doesn't matter? I'll talk to you about it. Number 2, was Magic Johnson fired or just did he quit? We got to have that talk. The reason we got to have that talk is because we projected Magic as the decision maker, as the know-all-be-all businessman of Black America. I'm talking about the Magic Johnson we seen struggling on night TV shows with English. Let's talk. Let's talk about whether Magic Johnson got fired. Number 3, was the Beyonce walking out a stunt? The walking out of Reebok, she supposedly left because it wasn't no Black people until we found out that Reebok is owned by Adidas, who she still signed with. I want to have that discussion because you can't have.
Sorry, guys.
If you shop on Amazon, you should use Wikibuy. It's a browser extension. So
yeah, these are really great questions to think about. I did not know that Adidas had been purchased by Reebok. So this is definitely something that we need to be aware of and dig into. We have to know who's really on our side and who's not. It's time to really call people for what they are, which are sellouts. If you're real, you're real. If you're a sellout, you're a sellout.
People using Black politics to sell cheap product. You can't have people acting like they for Black people when in reality they for themselves.
Yep.
You can't forget that Jay-Z had the S. Carter with Reebok recently, decade ago or so. So he done did deals with Reebok. Now Reebok owned by Adidas, but she walking out, but now she with Adidas. Was this all a publicity stunt? Let's talk about it. The next one and the last question is going to be about Charlemagne. I don't consider him necessarily a Black celebrity, but he continuously kind of tries to create celebrity out of weird things that he does. And most recently, he tried to take credit for reparations. And I'm going to say he tried to take credit because that's my view. When you report on something, like what happened was in January, ADOS caused quite a storm as a result of the energy that we already had cooking in the fish pot. With me and Yvette doing shows. Shout out to Tariq. He played his part. But what happened was Kamala felt that pressure. She felt that pressure on her neck. And when she felt that pressure, she went running to somewhere safe. And where she stopped at was the Breakfast Club. I want y'all to go back and watch the video. Charlemagne is reading the pressure that comes from Black folks. ADOS folks, particularly. So then the Wall Street Journal comes out with an article today and says it all started with Charlemagne, and Charlemagne never tells the Wall Street Journal that it actually was ADOS because he moves himself from somebody that was reporting on what was going on to actually creating it. Let's talk about it. That's going to be the last part of the show. We're not playing today. Share this video. We getting into it. Black celebrity doesn't matter anymore. We on Black politics. Do Black folks got a specific kind of celebrity kind of craze? I believe so. See, we were raised, and I know that we just American as well. American white folks have some of it as well, but I think we have a concentrated version. We hid, let's talk about it. We hid all of our aspiration inside of Michael Jackson, Bill Cosby, Michael Jordan, and Oprah. And Beyonce came a bit later. Don't forget Whitney as well. That told us that we could be just as good, just as rich, just as aspirational as white folks. 5 or 7 black celebrities. And don't forget all the little groups like TLC and SWV and all the other letters that came out later. What happened as a result of being hypnotized? You remember sitting in front of 106 in Park and just watching the videos? Remember when they used to bring artists on and they show you their favorite videos the whole day? They mesmerized us with black celebrity. But it's over now and we need it. So we looking anywhere and everywhere for the last little. You ever looked into the jelly jar and ain't no jelly left and you keep hitting the glass? That's ADOS right now, all across the country. Hypnotized by black celebrity. I've called it the decadent veil. We know about the decadent veil. I've talked about wealth calcification. Let's get into it. See, inside of black America, we only have 2.6% of the wealth. But the bigger story, or just as big story, as big a story, is the fact that our top few black families have most of that 2.6. The top 10%, what we know from the data, has 75%. But I'm willing to go as far as possibly the 1% has 30 or 40% of the whole. You are celebrating people that are oppressing you. What do you mean? How does a black celebrity like Oprah oppress me? She get her money somewhere else. Her job is to make you calm. Her job is to keep you from getting politics done. You might not see it. I'm not saying somebody directly pays her to do that, but as long as you feel like she getting paid and you get paid as well, you ain't gonna ask for no reparations. Let's talk about it. Black celebrity doesn't matter anymore. We on black politics. Tone Talks in the building. The call in today is gonna be 323-230-4610. Let's get right into the first question. Come on, let's talk about it. Oprah is struggling. Can we all see it? Can y'all see it? I remember a time when a little black girl couldn't come home at 3 o'clock without watching Oprah and feeling like she had a little hope. Come on, y'all remember that time? Y'all remember when Oprah was everything on TV? Then she got the white fan. Then she had the white fan base, and she was a chocolate woman talking to white women. But Oprah got rich, and black folks felt like we had a chance because she was our first billionaire. She was our hope. Then she came out with a school in South Africa. All her shows were taped, as I understand it, in Chicago, but she came out with a school in South Africa. What I see in a lot of ways is that we can't deal with ourselves. So we put ourselves to the side in exchange for a view of ourselves through celebrity. Oprah was the quintessential example of that. On the other side, you had the Cosby Show, which represented the black family in the most aspirational way. We've talked about it. I ain't going to get into details, but that brownstone that they bought is worth, I think, $10 million today. What we know is that we don't really have but a few thousand black families worth more than $6 million. So you tell me how that's the middle. All around the country, we getting this discussion going. The topic is black celebrity doesn't matter anymore. We on black politics. I'm coming to Oprah and seeing her struggling. We saw Weight Watchers stock just drop the other day. If Oprah don't keep running, we saw her with OWN, and she lost that channel. And I don't know how you lose a channel. It ain't like money falling out your pocket. So nonetheless, look, this is where we at. Oprah is struggling. Can we all see it? Oprah recently did something that black folks really had a problem with. She did the Michael Jackson documentary. She sat there and interviewed these people and justified it, based on a lot of stuff that didn't make a lot of sense. Came out later that there's questions to the facts. Michael Jackson had invited Oprah, I believe, to his home. Definitely opened up his life to her. He's gone. I'm not talking about whether he did what he did or not. I'm talking about whether it's right for you to be the person to bring it to America. Come on. You had Oprah get into it with Monique recently, and those people that know those facts, it was absolutely insane the things that happened with Monique. Monique's brother was brought on the show, and there was abuse accusations, and it never should have been done that way. But there was phone calls with Oprah again. What we see is that there are questions here about the role that black celebrity is playing on us, with us, how they're representing us. Let's take this first caller. Caller, what's your name? Where are you calling from?
This is Eric calling out of New York. Hey, what's up, Eric? So what do you think about this topic? I'm talking about Oprah right now and black celebrity and how we're moving past that. Give me your thoughts.
Definitely we are moving past that. Celebrity is nothing but an illusion. As you said, it's to keep the peace in essence. It's like they roll out a celebrity and it almost is like, hey, you too can be like that.
My name is Lisa Blaurock, and I am the president of 5 Strands Affordable Allergy.
Sorry, guys. So let me let this go ahead and play. Because some stuff I do want you guys to see about these different celebrities that he's discussing. Just so we can really dig into why we're saying black celebrity is like becoming irrelevant to the black community.
When that's not our reality. The reality is it's a hand-picked few who make it to that quote-unquote upper echelon level for the masses. And the masses needs to sweep them away and get them out of the way. Stop focusing on black celebrity and focus on the topic at hand, which is reparations for those on the bottom who deserve it. Simple and plain. Celebrity is an illusion. That's all it is. Smoke and mirrors.
Man, thank you so much for calling. I'm gonna try to get as many people in here tonight. Thank you.
Agree.
You got it, brother.
So look. Brother hit us with some real stuff that it is illusion. I call it the decadent veil. It is a veil so white folks feel comfortable. White folks don't want to feel uncomfortable. They want an Issa Rae in their house. An Issa Rae. I need Issa Rae. They want an Oprah in their house. They ain't trying to have no tone in their house. They not trying to have you in their house. They want somebody to make them feel comfortable.
I'm sorry, guys. I don't know what is going on.
Comfortable about their oppression. Let's talk about it. When I look back at this thing, I have to look at what Oprah recently did. Recently, Oprah comes on her Twitter account after the big documentary that Henry Louis Gates did. And on that account, what she said is, by not redistributing land, we're dealing with the fallout. Let me say it again. By not redistributing that land, we're still dealing with the fallout. Says it all at Henry Louis Gates. Oprah is the one that gave us vision boards over politics. Oprah is the one that tried to reconcile white oppression by bringing all kind of white racists on her show. Oprah also is the one that back in 1989 said, I think a lot of people still use the slavery experience as an excuse on national TV. I'm talking about the kind of TV that we don't even understand now because there was no Netflix. Oprah sat on national TV while black women across this country couldn't feed their children and said, I think a lot of people still use the slavery experience as an excuse. Let me take another caller. Caller, what's your name? Where are you calling from?
Houston, Texas.
What's your take on this thing? I'm on Oprah right now, but we're gonna be moving through this. We're talking about black celebrity and how they don't matter anymore. What's your thoughts?
Well, my thing is this, man, especially with the ADOS movement that's going on. I just really think at this point, especially considering what's going on with some of some of these artists that's been getting killed and whatnot, man, I just really think that we need unity more than anything. We need unity and we need land by any means necessary, and I'm just, I've been listening to your YouTube channel, man. You know what I'm saying? A lot of stuff that you say, man, make a whole lot of sense, man. I'm just glad that it's a brother somewhere, man, putting this to the forefront, because you don't hear a lot of this real talk on mainstream media, yeah.
Shout out to Dash Radio, Dash Talk X. Let me read something to you. This is the direct quote from Oprah Winfrey, the Oprah Show. If y'all remember the Oprah shows, every day, about 2-3 o'clock, Oprah had a bunch of white people and some black people and some Asians in the audience clapping. And so when we look at this thing, what the quote says, this is the direct words. I think a lot of people still use this is Oprah talking on her show. I think a lot of people still use the slavery experience as an excuse. I think a lot of people still use the slavery experience as an excuse, Winfrey said. Some people are still walking around thinking that this system, now Mr. Bush owes them something because we were in slavery. Is that fair? That's her direct words. Let me finish it, though. She continued talking about welfare by saying, So, we have all heard stories of how being on welfare takes a hold of some families. About 2 and 3 generations of mothers and daughters and sons that get stuck in a cycle of poverty that provides little inspiration to the next generation to be better. People who work and pay taxes have a lot of big gripes about those who spend decades and generations on welfare. This is Oprah talking. But then Oprah, and people might say, well, can't she grow? It ain't about growing. This is about trying to catch this wave called ADOS. This is about trying to catch black politics. The moment to be aware and to be woke is to stand against the wave, not with the wave. Come on, man. So Oprah comes out yesterday or today, and she says, by not redistributing that land, we're still dealing with the fallout. So how does that reconcile what you saying only earlier? I think a lot of people still use slavery experience as an excuse. This is the problem. Black celebrity oftentimes isn't all that informed.
Can I say something real quick?
Yeah, come on. Give it to me.
Look. I hear them use that same phrase a lot, but see, you gotta understand something about black people in America. And I'm not talking about Africans that come over here from Africa. I'm not talking about people come from the Barbados. I'm talking about Africans, descendants of slaves, period, point blank. See, what they don't bring up is the Jim Crow laws. Because I'm only 35 years old, but my family and my grandma, they told me about, all the Jim Crow laws, all the segregation, all the evilness that they did to our people and to the position to where they are today.
Come on.
There was a town they had in Tulsa, Oklahoma. I forget the name.
Come on.
But anyway, they had this all black town in Tulsa, Oklahoma. And the place was thriving. And and they came in and they bombed the place and killed all the people, said some white girl got abused or whatever. That was their reason for them to go in. And it seems like whenever black folks get the mind to where it's time to unify, it's time to do something, they set up all these entertainment distractions. And like I tell my people sometimes, we're so distracted with love and hip hop, all these Kardashians, all this nonsense. And what we really need to get focused on, especially with the 2020 election coming up, we need to, if you are a voter, because I vote in every election that I get a chance on, but we really need to focus on getting a candidate that's going to speak to the needs of black people, specifically. Come on. We need to help more than any other ethnic group in this country. The Chinese got theirs.
And we also owe. None of those groups are owed. Caller, thank you so much for calling in. I'm going to try to get to as many callers tonight, man. You've been on fire. Thank you.
All right, buddy.
So look, man, the brother's on fire. We talking about black celebrity and how they don't matter anymore. ADOS in the building. Shout out to y'all, fam. I just want to say that again. Because what y'all did is we have moved to a point where ADOS has led to a resurgence, a kind of discussion we haven't seen in 100 years around black people being made whole. See, I interviewed Byron Allen. He owns the Weather Channel, one of the wealthiest black people in the country. Go check it out after this show. And one of the things he said is that he talked to Coretta Scott King, and the unsaid work, according to Coretta Scott King, is the economic inclusion of black folks. See, what ADOS has been able to do is not only trigger a discussion in the Congress to make HR 40 something real. We'll be discussing whether HR 40 can stay the way it is and get our support, because we're going to need some changes. But also, we have, for the first time ever, a companion bill on the Senate floor. See, it's about our push to make sure both of these bills are right. But the fact that this has happened is a result of black politics. But black celebrities see it in the wind, and they trying to take a piece so they can sell you some cheap shoes from Adidas. Let's talk about it. Caller, what's your name? Where are you calling from?
Yes, this is J Dad from Tennessee. How you doing?
I'm all right, man. Look, we done.
So this is an excellent video. Another great video from Antonio Moore. You guys check out his YouTube channel, like and subscribe, Tone Talks. And I just wanted to piggyback off of what that other caller said, that the last caller just now, when he was talking about the unity, the black unity, and every time we get united, how they put a celebrity in our faces and we kind of get, dazzled by the celebrity and lose focus. that's exactly true. But also there's a lot of things that are put into place to basically undermine the Black people, ADOS, to make sure we don't rise. I watched a documentary with my children. I'm not sure if this is the PBS special they're talking about. But it was like he was bringing up, the last caller talked about the Jim Crow laws. And there was this PBS documentary. It was cut into 4 parts. You can catch it on YouTube. It's free. And they were talking about really just going into Jim Crow and like some of the experiences people had and what it was really about. And people just I don't think people really realize how devious and in depth the racism was when it came to Jim Crow. And that, to my knowledge, Jim Crow was about 80 years. So it basically happened for almost a century. Let me confirm that. So, Jim Crow law in U.S. history, any of the laws that enforced racial segregation in the South between the end of Reconstruction in 1877 and the beginning of the Civil Rights Movement in the 1950s. So it was about a century long. And a lot of stuff happened during that time that people also don't talk about. I think the main thing that people should know about Jim Crow that made it such a crime against Black people was the fact that it was always enforced by the government, the U.S. government, and the Supreme Court enforced those laws. And constantly, if there was court cases that went to the Supreme Court, they would always side with the racist. And so people need to remember that as well. So it is important to bring up Jim Crow as well as the things that happened in Reconstruction, such as pardoning all the treasonous people who fought in the Civil War, which were the Confederates, and they went against their own country to try to keep slavery continuing so that they can make money in the South. And that was treason. I mean, they basically tried to create their own country and created their own flag and fought against their own people in the Civil War, which is why it's called a Civil War, because it was like right here on American soil. And they during the Reconstruction era, they actually gave that land back to those traitors who should have been sent to prison with the book thrown at them for the crimes they committed against the people and just their own country, their president. They went against their president, which is treason. And they essentially got all their land back when Andrew Johnson, I believe, was the successor of Abraham Lincoln, came after Abraham Lincoln was assassinated. Andrew Johnson became the president, and he basically just reversed everything Abraham Lincoln was doing. He took out he reneged on the promise of 40 acres and a mule. He took it out of the I'm not sure if it was in the Constitution, but he just took it out of the works and made it not happen. And that would have helped us extensively, the Black community, to get that land and the tools to work that land and do. And they always say, pull up your bootstraps to do for self. But every time we try to, they quickly do a lot of things to try to undermine us. There were some Black people who actually did have land and was working their farms. And in that video, in that documentary, you can see white people kind of getting mad about it. Okay, it's called The Rise and Fall of Jim Crow. That was on PBS. So you can see that they were kind of getting mad that these Negroes would dare to get uppity, and they were just worried, like if Black people were too successful with their own land and farming, etc., then they would start to feel as an equal to white people. And I honestly believe that we're superior to white people. So being an equal to white people to me is not really a real goal. I feel like if you're equal to a white person, you're basically still mediocre, because they're very mediocre to me. They're nothing special. So to me, Black people are defined in greatness and Black excellence. Like we're doing things against all odds. We're having everything thrown at us that's humanly possible, and we still persevere. We've overcome slavery. We've overcome Reconstruction. We've overcome Jim Crow. I mean, they keep throwing things at us, throwing us in prisons, murdering us, torturing us, just doing the most vile things, lynching us. And we just continue to keep going. We keep pushing forward. So I know we are a special race. I already know that. Black people are a special group. We're a special race. As Dr. Claude Anderson said, if you read Black Root Science, you'll learn just how special we really are. And, you got to, let me actually show you this book. So I want you guys to check this out. I'm going to go ahead and close this window out so my computer won't slow down too much. 1 second. This is like our Bible, one of our Bibles. I'm actually going to read this to my sons before they leave the house, just so they can understand our history. And here's the way the book looks. So there you go. I actually need to buy some more of these, to be honest, because my book is in storage right now. So anyways, let me go ahead and get out of here. So I'm like shopping online. I'm just trying to get that done before I forget. All right, so we have this video, which is relevant. You guys make sure you watch this video and give it a thumbs up. Also subscribe to Tone Talks. It's called The Era of Black Celebrity is Over. Now it's about Black politics. Oprah, Beyonce, Magic Johnson, and Diddy are some of those celebs that just aren't relevant. Sorry. All right, so let's move on to the next topic that I thought was important to discuss, and then I'll be wrapping up this video. So we saw that Georgetown University agreed to reparations for Black people, which I think is a load of crap. It actually sounds good in the beginning, and then when you find out more about the details of this proposal that students agreed to, they actually voted to do this. And for the students' part, I commend them for wanting to do the right thing and being okay with this $27 fee that they will be getting charged to pay for reparations to the slaves that were sold, I guess, to build Georgetown University or keep it open. But the reality is that it's not really the students' job to repair anybody. I don't understand what they have to do with Georgetown doing what they did. So the people who should be paying the reparations back to those families who were affected by the selling of slaves or their family members who were enslaved at the time is Georgetown. So Georgetown needs to pay back those reparations. They need to go into their endowments and their money that they have in the bank, all that wealth that was built off the backs of our Black ancestors, the ADOS, and pay those families back with their money. I don't understand why these students are being basically hit with a fee. Now, the difference between these students and citizens paying taxes to pay reparations, the reason why I don't have a problem with citizens paying taxes versus students paying a fee is because the citizens are already, for one, they're already paying taxes to the Jews and the Native Americans and Japanese and some of everybody else and giving money to Israel and wars. And we're already paying taxes for all that, including the descendants of slaves, the American descendants of slaves, ADOS. We're paying taxes to people who actually once enslaved us and others who we have nothing to do with. And we're the main ones who should be getting reparations because we dealt with the worst atrocities ever in this country, especially. And why are we paying reparations to them, but no one's giving us any reparations? So that's bull crap in itself. And I think that the tax is kind of, just equal because people are benefiting from, this whole country benefits from the wealth built off literally the backs of our ancestors, our Black ancestors. So the Black American ancestors. So for people who are living in this country and benefiting off the economy of, the economy. Like a lot of people are coming in for jobs. They're sending money back to their native lands, their native countries, based on what they're able to make in America. And this economy is so successful and as strong as it is because you basically got to have 400, 500, 600 years of free labor or very, very, very low cost labor. I think that would make anybody successful who's owning that business or running that industry. And then, so the fact that people are able to, everybody's benefiting off of living in America. And like they tell us to leave and go to Africa, why don't you leave? If you think that your life isn't that great, you're living in a trailer park or whatever, why don't you go back to Europe or wherever the hell you came from? So people are benefiting, whether they say it or not. Then you have the white supremacy system that white people and a lot of non-black people will benefit from, that is still in place here. So even when people say, well, I live in a trailer park, or I didn't own, or my family didn't own any slaves, like they really know that, for one. Like, did you really go through your ancestry and see that? Go to ancestry.com. Yeah, right. Because we talked in another video that 1 in 4 households did own slaves. 1 in, I believe 200 households owned 50 or more slaves. So shut it up. Don't feed me that bullshit. Like, let's just keep it 100. You probably, most likely, your family somewhere owned some damn slaves, whether it was your uncle, your cousin, somebody, you had some slave ownership going on, and you probably. And then, also there's just so many things, like we really have to dig down into the land, the Homestead Act, when white folks got some free land that black people weren't entitled to, when they did a lot of, it was like redlining. Oh gosh, I just wish I could remember these videos off the top of my head. Let me look real quick. There was another video I watched where they basically had these segregated communities that they not allow black people to live in. And that hurt the black community as well, because the property taxes aren't, our homes in America do not, our homes in Black America, like our Black communities, do not increase in value as fast as the white, neighborhoods. They terrorize the Black people who dared to move into those neighborhoods. Let's see if I can find it. Sorry, guys. Just gonna dig. Let's see if I can find it. I'm probably not gonna be able to find it, to be honest. It was a great video, and I want you guys to see that video as well. Where it basically talked about how this land was just really divvied up so that white people could win. Like they were given the best areas, basically like gentrification. I mean, they were given the best areas to live in, and they weren't letting black people live in those neighborhoods, no matter how rich or wealthy those black families were. So yeah. So anyways, I can't find it, but when I do, if I find it, I'll try to post it in the description box below. So let's go ahead and jump into this video really quickly so you guys can just learn more about what happened with these reparations. And actually, I'm not sure if I want to watch this one because it's very long. But definitely subscribe to his channel, Prof Black HQ. He has amazing videos that are very informative. So you want to check his channel out when you get a chance. But we have Georgetown Reparations. I want to find a shorter video so that I can go ahead and wrap my video up. So let's see. We got a 2-minute video here. Let's jump in there. Now the good news about this action that happened is that this does pave the way for reparations to occur for the ADOS. People are like trying to figure out how we're going to do it, blah, blah, blah. They're trying to make it seem like it's just such a foreign concept. But as they start to make payments from different institutions, it just makes it more of a reality that, yeah, you'll be able to pay reparations to those slaves that were the people who were enslaved overall and had to endure Jim Crow, etc. Yeah, because it is owed to us. It needs to happen expeditiously, like very quickly. So let me go ahead and play this real fast. It's a 2-minute
Georgetown
video.
University, the nation's oldest Catholic university, has been around almost as long as the country itself. The school's history includes a period in which it owned slaves. Now Georgetown students have voted to pay money to the descendants of those slaves, what is called reparations. Chip Reed has more.
Georgetown University currently has an endowment of $1.5 billion, but in 1838 it was nearly broke, so the Jesuit priest who ran the school sold 272 slaves, including Frank Campbell, to pay off its debts. Georgetown students voted 66 to 34% in favor of a new fee of $27.20 per semester, money that would benefit descendants of those 272 slaves.
We've all benefited from the sales of these slaves previously, and I think that we have a duty now to show our responsibility in the fact that we did benefit from them.
Freshman Henry Dye helped lead the opposition to the referendum.
You say it's a slap in the face at liberty. Yes. What do you mean by that?
I believe in the importance of individual liberty, but I don't believe we should morally impose our values on other students.
Whether the fee is implemented is now up to the university, which said in a statement, "Our students are contributing to an important national conversation." It has become a national conversation on the presidential campaign trail for some Democrats, including New Jersey Senator Cory Booker.
I support reparations.
Some of the Georgetown students who helped organize the referendum say winning the vote is just the first step. Georgetown junior Shepard Thomas is a descendant of the slaves who were sold.
And as we go forward, our initiative will be to challenge the university to do something.
In its written statement, Georgetown said, quote, "This student referendum provides valuable insight into student perspectives, but it gave no indication as to whether it plans to give the students what they're demanding." Jeff?
All right, Chip Reed at Georgetown Tonight. Chip, thank you.
All right, guys. So those are the 3 stories that I wanted to highlight. I think I probably threw an extra story in there that I just wanted to talk about. But yeah, so you guys go ahead and comment and like and subscribe. And until I see you again, take care of yourselves and each other. Peace, love, and light. Bye.